I have another interesting mushroom trip experience to share with you all, and before I begin, I just want to add in a disclaimer that I don't necessarily think that these experiences really did actually happen in reality. I just don't think that just because whether or not these experiences were drug-induced, that it was all in my head, that I was just imagining it all, that doesn't devalue the actual experience. And mushrooms have really changed my life, and I've gotten some amazing, profound experiences out of them. And I think there's value in sharing these stories, whether or not they're real, whether or not they really did actually happen. So, with that said, I guess I'll start off by telling you the dosage of mushrooms I took on this particular experience. I took 10 grams of mushrooms in dry weight, and for those of you who don't know much about mushrooms, that's a hell of a lot. Most people take maybe 2-3 grams, and that's enough to get them a pretty intense experience where they can have an ego death, they can feel interconnected with everything, they might get some pretty strong hallucinations. So I took about 5 times that, so a pretty hefty dose. This was back in late February, early March, around that time. It was still winter, and I was with a few friends at a park, and we all took shrooms. I took way more than everyone else. I took 10 grams, and at first, all we were really doing was just walking around, looking at animals. There was like a hawk in a tree eating a squirrel. I think there were some rabbits running around. And we were doing a little bit of fur activism. There were some people still wearing fur jackets because it was winter, and you know, we'd approach them, tell them it's wrong to wear fur, that whole spiel. It took a really, really long time for the shrooms to kick in for me. Usually it's at most an hour until I can feel it. This took 4 hours before I can feel anything, which was unusual. Around that 4-hour mark, we hopped on the subway to get something to eat, and that's when I started getting visual hallucinations. I was seeing sort of double vision. I was seeing ghost images of people, and those ghost images were like green, blue, red. They were all different colors. By the time we got to the restaurant and started eating, I was feeling the typical sort of mushroom experience where I was getting ego death, interconnectedness with everything, I was losing my sense of self, and I was getting some visual hallucinations like the double vision stuff. I was seeing the whole world kind of waving and like breathing too. Yeah, it's weird. It was like it looked like everything was breathing, so everything was going in, out, and it was sort of matching my pace of breath. So those are sort of typical of an average mushroom experience. Nothing too intense at first, which was a little bit disappointing because I was expecting to just go off to a totally different planet with 10 grams. Later on that night, I ended up going to a friend of mine's like party, potluck. Everyone just brought food, and you know, everyone just talked, had fun, listened to music, stuff like that. I just brought some vegan donuts along. And I sat down on the couch to relax, and it felt like the mushroom trip was like sort of tailing off. I was feeling less and less of the effect, and out of nowhere it just ramped up really suddenly, and I saw my friend's dog there, and it felt like I just swapped minds with the dog. I felt like my soul basically just escaped my body and my mind just went into that dog. I don't actually believe in souls, but like I said, that's just how I felt during that time. Then I just saw everything from the dog's perspective, and I never really understood vegans who were against pet ownership until that point. And the best way I can describe it is we feel like we're really good to our pets. You know, we see horrible things happen to other animals in agriculture, on factory farms, and we're like, oh my god, I could never do that to my dog. And, you know, you treat your dog as well as you possibly can. I think most people really do try to be as good to their pets as they can. You know, give them a house, food, shelter, we let them sleep on our bed, couch, you know, give them hugs, love, kisses, all that. But, it's totally different for the dog. When I was that dog, I felt like I was a prisoner. I felt like I was being forced to associate and be friends with people that I just didn't want to be with. I was like just locked in a house where I didn't want to be. I just wanted to be outside all the time. I just felt like I was totally under control from someone who was just manipulating me for their own purposes. And like me personally, I'm the type of person who just wants to do whatever the fuck they want whenever they want, and being that dog was one of the most horrible fucking experiences I've ever felt, because as a dog, you're just totally at the mercy of someone else. You're on someone else's schedule. You go outside when that person wants to go outside. You get to go walk when that person wants to go walk. You only get to go off leash when they think it's okay. So that was just fucking horrible. That alone just made being a dog horrible for me. And I also experienced other things as the dog, getting neutered. You know, it might sort of be the right thing to spay or neuter your pets to control the pet population. It's wrong to bring in unwanted puppies and kittens into the world. But, you know, in that own dog's perspective, when I was that dog, I just felt like I was maliciously fucking attacked for no reason. Someone just mutilated my genitals in the most horrible fucking way, and I just didn't understand what was going on. It just felt like someone fucking hated me for no reason, and they just wanted to make my life a living fucking hell, so they cut off my balls. And all of these feelings I felt, I just can't support the pet industry anymore, and I just don't want to own any more pets. You know, I love animals, I love dogs, I love cats, but I just don't want to put them through that. I don't want to control their lives, have them be completely at my mercy, just completely run on my schedule and just do the things that I want to do. I just want them to be free and enjoy their own life. And what I felt that day, I just can't put them through that anymore. I know my girlfriend Jasmine, she wants a dog. That's going to be her choice, but yeah, for me personally, I'm not going to go out and get any more pets. I don't think it's necessarily wrong to rescue an animal, but I just can't be a part of it. I think just merely owning a pet, just having a dog, is cruelty in and of itself. Forget about the pet industry, you know, with puppy mills, breeding, all of that, sexual exploitation. That's bad enough, but I just think pet ownership itself is wrong. But, that's my own experience with things. I just thought I'd share that with you, so maybe you could get a different perspective on the whole situation. Why don't you leave in the comments section down below what you think about pet ownership, and as always, keep making those vegan gains.
What a relief! When will this poisonous product cease? This is another public service announcement. You can believe it or you can doubt it. Let us begin now with the cow. The way it gets to your plate and how.